Installing Windows on a Mac is not as crazy as you may think. I'm not going to go through the reasons why you may want to do this, but if you need to install Windows on a Mac computer, and that is without any other operating system, then I'm going to show you how to do it in this video. So we have here a Mac computer that I would like to install Windows. And what I want to do is I want to install just Windows. I don't want to use Boot Camp. I just want to connect the USB and install Windows. One of the biggest things that the biggest problem I'm going to encounter is with drivers. The drivers are not loaded automatically when I start booting Windows. So there's some prerequisites that you got to have. First of all, you got to have the Windows operating system on a USB like this. And I'm not going to go through the process of creating an ISO, but I will have another video that can show you that. What you do need to have though is you need to have an external keyboard because the drivers are not loaded automatically. So you're going to have a keyboard so you can load the drivers. The other thing is the hard drive is not going to show up right away because you need the drivers. This is the biggest challenge when you try to load Windows on a Mac Intel-based computer. So let's go ahead and go through the steps. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and download all the drivers. I'm going to show you how you can put them on your USB drive, and then we can go ahead and start the installation. In order for us to download the drivers, what we need to do is we need to look at the model number of the Mac that we're using. In this case, I have a laptop, and in here there is a small number that you need to pay attention to. Well, we don't care about the serial number. What we care about is the model number. In my case, it says A1706 EMC3163. Write down those numbers because those are the numbers that we're going to use in order for us to find the drivers for this. If you still have the Mac OS installed, you can always go to the little Apple, click on About This Mac, and then you're going to have System Report, and then the model number and the family is going to be there as well. With the model number that we found in the back of the laptop, we can Google model. In my case, it's EMC3163, and we can just say Boot Camp. With that, we're going to see this link here that points to MacBook Pro 13-inch Core i5 3.3, which is the one that I have. When I click here, it takes me to this website here. And what I'm looking for is I am actually looking for the model that I have, which is this right here, 3.3 Core 5, and it says model, it has the model number here, 3163 is the one that I have. And so you can see that the family is what we care about, the MacBook Pro 14,2. So we're going to go ahead and write that down because we're going to use this for downloading the drivers. So go ahead and write that down, MacBook Pro 14.2. The next step is we are going to do a Google search for this Brigadier. So if you do a Google search for Brigadier Boot Camp, it's going to give you this GitHub link. So you just go ahead and click on that. The latest release is the one on the right hand side, which is Brigadier 0.24. You click on this and it takes you to this link. From here, what you can do is you can download it. You can download this brigadier.exe. So once it's downloaded, what I can do is I just can open a command prompt and go to my downloads folder. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the Brigadier. We're going to type model, and then we're just going to either copy paste this number here that we found on the website. Again, we want this MacBook Pro. Remember, I have the EMC3163, so I can just do a copy paste this MacBook Pro 14.2. If you decide not to copy paste, then make sure that when you run it, you don't leave a space between MacBook Pro and the 14,2. So it's MacBook Pro whatever model you have. Again, in my case, it's 14.2. So just make sure that you don't leave a space, press enter. And what that's going to do, it's going to go up to the website and download the drivers. This is going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to pause the video and then I'll come back when it's done. When this finishes, if you go back to your downloads folder, you're going to end up with a folder called Bootcamp, and then it's going to have a number. When you double click on it, you can see that there's some information in there, or what you want is this WinPED drivers. This is what we're going to use. This is for the drivers. The SSD is for the hard drive, for the Apple hard drive for that specific Mac. So what we need to do is we can take the drive, the USB drive that we're going to use with the Windows files. We're going to take that and we're going to copy it into that USB drive. I have already done so. So as you can see here, this is my USB drive, and here is Bootcamp. When I just dragged and dropped into here. You can just put it on the root. So when you double click on it, here are the drivers. And that's about it. Now we have Windows 10 installation files from the ISO, and we have the drivers in this USB drive. Now we can start the installation. The installation is pretty straightforward. Make sure you have the USB connected, push the power button, hold the Option key. Hold the Option key until you see these two options. In some computers it takes a while, so keep holding it until you see it. Select the EFI boot device and press Enter. Then you will see the installation options. The keyboard may not work on the laptop. This is when you need to have an external keyboard plugged in. Make sure you have it plugged in. Click Next. Click Install Now. Then it's going to ask you for the product key. You can skip for now. Go Windows 10 Pro, accept the license terms, custom install Windows only. And now, as you can see, there's no hard drive. This is the reason why we need the drivers on the USB drive. Click on Load Driver, Browse, and then go to the removable drive C, go to Bootcamp, expand that, go into the WinPED driver, go to the SSD, and click OK. Select Next. Now it's loading the drivers for the hard drive. Now you should be able to see the partitions. I usually delete the partitions. And then I select the unallocated space and I press Enter, and the installation of Windows begins. Okay, so at this point, Windows is installed. However, my keyboard is still not working. Not all the drivers are installed. So the last step is go to the removable disk, which is again the USB where you copy the Bootcamp folder. Double click on it, go to Bootcamp, double click on Setup, and click Next. And that's about it. Now we have a full Windows 10 computer running on a Mac. Before we go, just want to go through some questions that usually come up. The first one is, what happens to DEP? DEP is the Device Enrollment Program from Apple, the one that when you buy a Mac, a business can say, this one is going to belong to me, and I can deploy packages to it, I can manage it remotely. Unfortunately, that is an Apple program. So if you load Windows on a Mac, you're not going to be able to have the same capabilities with DEP as you do if you install the Mac OS. So that's not going to be available, unfortunately. The other thing that usually people ask is, what happens to all my data when I do this? Well, like I said, in this case, we got rid of all the partitions, all the data, everything is gone. The way that we did it, the way that I showed you. If you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Why would you want to put Windows on a Mac? Anything, any comments, any suggestions, they help me. This is a new channel, so any interaction helps. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.